Hello guys, in this video we will talk about the reproductive systems. As we know, men and women have different reproductive systems, and because of that each system works in a different way. And it is very important to know about both systems, that in order to have a better sexual education. I understand that these topics can be embarrassing or funny, but guys, please be serious about it.
Let's start with the male reproductive system. First, we have the testes that are located inside the scrotum and is in charge of produce sex hormone and sperms. They have the shape like an egg, and all the men have two testes. Both testes are located inside the scrotum because they need a special temperature, and the function of the scrotum is to regulate temperature. So that is why they are located in that part. Now, once the sperm is created or produced inside the testes, they will pass through the epididymis, that are these ducts that are inside the testes, and the epididymis help to transport the sperm from testes to the vas ducts. The vas ducts are these ones that are very large, start from the epididymis and then come to the prostate gland. And well, in the vas deferens, the sperm are stored until the man receives sexual stimulation. Now, the seminal vesicle, that are this one, the prostate gland, that are this one, and the vulvourethral gland, that are a little thing that are under the prostate. The three help add some secretions to the semen, and the three are joined to the vas deferens. So imagine the sperm was created here, then they travel to the epididymis, go to the vas deferens, get to this, come to this part, and then start to go down, and the seminal vesicle and the prostate and the vulvourethral gland add some nutrients and other chemicals. Now we have the urethra. The urethra is the organ where you expel urine, when you expel urine. But when the men have sexual stimulation, the urethra will expel semen. The urethra can measure around 20 centimeters. The urethra starts from here and ends in this part. These muscles are the penis and is part of the external organ. The penis, when the man is excited, it gets erected. That is because the blood flow increases in this area. But usually the normal form of the penis are are a flaccid form like this one, and are like down, looking down. And that's it. Well, another thing is that the man, when they only can introduce their penis into the woman when the penis is erected. They can put them inside when it's flaccid. Okay, so now it's time to talk about the hormonal regulation in men. For that case, we have this image. First, the hypothalamus secretes a hormone called gonadotropin releasing hormone that stimulates the anterior pituitary gland. This one is the hypothalamus. Here is where everything starts, and these two testes are at the anterior pituitary gland. So the process starts here, goes to this part, and then in this part are in charge of control the testes. Okay, so we turn back to the testes, and then here the follicle stimulator hormone and luteinizing hormone. Well, you can find in men and in females. In this case, the male will find these hormones inside the testes, and the follicle hormone will promote the production of sperm in the seminiferous tubules that are like a subdivision of the epididymis in this part. And the other hormone, the luteinizing, will promote the production of testosterone by the interstitial cells. And what is testosterone? Well, it's a sex hormone that have the men. This hormone helps them to develop a broad shoulder, longer legs, a deeper voice, and abundant hair. And so with this, we can understand better the male reproductive system. I think that maybe you can see many parts, they are a lot of parts, are 18, I think. And it's so difficult to understand. But as I explained, I think the process is very clear and easy to understand how the travel of the sperm. So I think that is everything. I hope you learned something about this, and now it's time to learn about the female reproductive system.
Okay, here we have a three-dimensional image of the female reproductive system that is formed by the ovaries, that is one on each side, the fallopian tubes that are also one in each side of the uterus that is marked with the number 3, the cervix that is the number 2, and the vagina that is number 1. Let's start with the ovary. The ovaries are glands about the size of an almond and are in charge of mature the ovum, and it also releases even more during the reproductive life. They also secrete female hormones. The ovum that is secreted by the ovary goes all the way to the uterus by the fallopian tube, that is the number 5. These fallopian tubes are small channels where the fertilization occurs. So let's remember what fertilization is. And it's when the egg and the spermatozoid meet to create a zygote. We have the number 3, that is the uterus or endometrium, uterus and endometrium. All these halomuscular organ, it's in charge of feeding the fetus before it's birth. The endometrium can be seen clear in this image, but it's a membrane that changes its thickness according with the phase of the menstrual cycle. Here's when the process of implantation occurs, and here we can see better the endometrium. Okay, here in the red zone, it's where the embryo is ended on the in the implantation. That's implantation. It's where implantation occurs. Okay, let's move on to the cervix. Cervix it's only a separation between the uterus and the vagina, and finally we have the vagina that is a muscular tube that is where the penis is inserted during the intercourse. What I said before I was describing the inner female reproductive system, but we also have some external organs like the labia majora, which form two folds on each side of the entrance of the vagina. That is this hollow. This labia majora functions like here is the shining part. This is the labia majora and functions to protect, like a protector from the microbes. Then we have the labia minora that are a little deeper inside the labia majora and are more involved into sexual experience, because instead of having sweat glands like the labia majora, they have a lot of nerve fibers. Here, the labia minora. The labia minora joins in the clitoris, which is also involved on sexual pleasure. The clitoris is this point of here. As we learned in previous topics, the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus are in charge of the secretion of certain hormones that are involved in the case of the woman, are involved in the ovarian and the uterine cycles. Okay, here we have the pituitary gland and we have the hypothalamus. Here it can be seen well, but here it is. Here is the pituitary and hypothalamus in a clearer point of view. Hypothalamus is this part and pituitary is this part, and as I said, they are in charge of regulate the main events of the ovarian and the uterine cycles. Let's first talk about the ovarian cycle, that consists of the maturation and preparation of the oocyte to be fertilized. It lasts 28 days and it's divided into three phases: follicular, ovulation, and luteal phase. All these phases occur inside the ovary. And here we have a timeline for you to understand better the process. Here is ovarian cycle. Okay, in the follicular phase, that is the first phase, the follicular stimulating hormone, or FSH, starts the developing of the follicle to contain the fetal ovum. This phase ends with the start of the ovulation, that is when the follicular tissue degrades due to the increase of the estrogen, leading to the liberation of the egg. Lastly, we have the luteal phase, That is basically when the corpus luteum is just waiting to be fertilized. Okay, that is the ovarian cycle. Here is the uterine cycle in comparison with the ovarian cycle. The uterine cycle happens in parallel with the ovarian cycle and also lasts 28 days as well. Okay, like it can be seen in the image, it happens in parallel. So they also have 3 phases, starting with the menstruation. That happens when the fertilization of the ovum doesn't occur and basically is discharged the endometrium out of the body through the vagina lining. Like it can be seen in this image, and that's how we are in our day. When we have our period, we are like this. So yes, it's a very painful phase. Okay. Then we have the follicular phase that is happening then while the follicular phase is happening, the proliferative phase, which is making the endometrium up to receive the ovum. Follicular phase is happening and the proliferative phase is occurring at the same time, but in different parts of the female reproductive system, as you can see in this image. Okay. Then we have the secretory phase, that is the last, and practically it's when the endometrium increases its thickness and the uterine gland start to produce mucus secretion in the secretory phase. So secretory phase, it's about secretion of hormones, mucus secretion. So yes, practically it's that.
Tubal ligation, it is a safe and effective surgical procedure that protects against pregnancies permanently. Tubal ligation is a surgical procedure that permanently closes or blocks the fallopian tubes. After tubal ligation, you still have the menstrual period, but you cannot get pregnant. Some of risk is that you can have a rash, sham, or difficult breathing. You can have fever and severe continuous pain in your abdomen. You can usually odor or vaginal discharge and having fading. Abstinence. Sexual abstinence is a practice of abstaining from some aspects of sexual activity of your own free will. This reason for adopting sexual abstinence, religious or philosophical relationships, prevention or conception or sexually transmitted disease, legal measures or psychological reasons, the presence of the mental illness such as depression, anxiety, etc. The abstinence have not risk because you are not having intimacy. Vasectomy. The goal of vasectomy is to be permanent. This surgery blocks out and or cuts each vas different, leaving the sperm out of the semen, the sperm remaining in the testicles, and the body absorbs them about 3 months. After a vasectomy, the semen stops containing sperm but does not cause pregnancy. The procedure is fast and you can return home the same day. The most common risks of vasectomy are infections, can also have pain, bleeding, bruising, swelling after the procedure. Birth control pills are a type of hormone medication. They come in a box and you can take a daily one. The pill
is safe, affordable, and effective if you always take it on time. The hormones in the pill stop ovulation. Without ovulation, there is no ovum waiting for the sperm to fertilize it, so that pregnancy cannot occur. Spermicides are chemical products that are placed deep in the vagina before having intimacy. They block the entrance to the cervix so that the sperm does not reach the ovum. The spermicides do not take immediate effect. It must be placed 15 minutes before. Some are effective for 1 hour, should be used in each intimacy. The spermicide can leave the vagina and turns out but it comfort out to be uncomfortable or have a strange taste. The risk of it is that they can irritate sensitive genital tissues. These irritations increase the risk of contraction of STDs as they facilitate entry to other sexually transmitted diseases like HIV. The UD, both copper formula EUDs prevent pregnancy by changing the way the sperm moves, so that I cannot reach an ovum. The sperm does not like coppers, so the IUD makes it virtually impossible for it to reach the ovums. EUD hormones prevent pregnancies in two ways. They thicken the cervical mucus, which blocks the traps, the sperm, and the hormones sometimes also prevent the ovum from leaving the ovary, which means that there is no ovum to fertilize. EUD risks they can slide out the uterus and you can get pregnant, and if the UD comes out, you have to extract. It is possible to get an infection when they placing it, and when they placing the IUD can pierce the uterus wall. Coitus interruptus. The penis should be completely out of the partner vagina before you ejaculate, and then you should ejaculate away from the vulva and vagina. It sounds easy, but it can be a difficult most of the time. Removing the penis before ejaculating requires a lot of self-control. You must be willing to stop before ejaculation, and you should be able to do so. Therefore, to ejaculate out of the vagina correctly, you must know exactly when the semen will come out of the penis, and you must be able to remove it from the vagina before it happens. The risk of it is that you can get a disease because you have not a condom or other protection, and it can make you be pregnant. Diaphragm. It is a contraceptive method that consists of a soft, shallow cup-shaped silicone cup. It is folded in half of the insert into the vagina to cover the cervix. It is a barrier that covers the cervix and prevents the sperm from attaching to an ovum. For a diaphragm function is the best way, it must be used with spermicide. Spermicide has chemicals that prevent sperm from moving so that it cannot reach an ovum. Some risk, if you see it many times a day, you can irritate your vagina and increase the risk of having a sexually transmitted disease. If you're worried about ETS contagion, use condom in combination with the diaphragm and the spermicide to prevent. Female condom. Instead of being placed on the penis, internal condoms are used inside the vagina to prevent pregnancy or into a vagina and anus to protect against STDs. Internal condoms help prevent STDs by covering the inside of your anus, vagina, and some parts of your vulva. This increases the chances of the coming in contact with the semen, and it has the same risk of a condom. The male condom and the female condom are the only two that can prevent diseases of sexual transmission.
Interesting facts on reproductive system of humans. A female can have birth to about 35 babies in a lifetime, which is a big number for a female to have 8 babies. Another interesting fact is that both the male and female reproductive systems have the ability to produce the smallest, which is the sperm, and the largest, the ovum, cells in the human body. The sperm and the ovum are about 0.3 to 0.5 millimeters in length and 120 millimeters in diameter, which is respectively. A very interesting fact I found was that the vagina has something in common with the tomatoes. This is that the pH that the tomato has is about 4 to 4.7, and which is, according to the Food and Drug Administration, the pH of the vagina averages about 4.5, which is similar to the pH of the tomatoes. Another interesting fact is that the vagina hosts many warning bacteria that protect the female reproductive organs from external infections, which is very important fact. And these bacteria reside in a slightly acid environment, lowers the pH of the vagina, which I talked about the pH of the vagina recently. Another interesting fact was that the fallopian tubes from females are about 12 centimeters long and wide as a sewing needle. At the 8th week of pregnancy, vital organs like the brain, the heart, the skin, and the stomach are developed, with the embryo measuring only an adult's thumb. The health of the fetus and its development is affected by the mother's oral health, which is a very important fact for women that are through a pregnancy. And when in warmth, the body of the baby is covered with the thin layer of hair that disappears when the baby is born.